Welcome back. You were listening to another episode of the Keep the Change podcast, and it is good to be tuning in with you in this glorious 2025 year that we're going to absolutely tear to shreds in this lovely country that is New Zealand. Hope you're keeping well, and I hope that you are still on the straight and narrow, staying clear of buy now, pay later, and all of the little temptations that we have in our life to derail us, make us do silly shit, because it is that time of January where all of the resolutions have passed and all of the things that we thought that we would do to be a better human in 2025 start to go out the window, and that's just how it is. However, not you though. You're not going to let that happen. And today we're going to focus on how to make a bit of extra cash in 2025. Now, you will know, if you've been listening to Keep the Change for some time, that I am hot on this. I bang on about this all the time because I think that if I learned at an earlier age how to make more money or normalize the fact that it was okay to do that and to aim for that, then maybe my journey would be different. But I guess a better way to explain it is once I learned to make money and that you could learn how to do it, then I wondered what the fuck had I been learning before that? And that I think is really common for a lot of people. And when we've got the media blasting us every week with this person moved to Australia and they did this and this person did this, and of course, like, how is that going to help anybody? Unless you're going to go and do it. Like, how does that actually teach anyone anything? And a big part of Keep the Change and the chip on my shoulder with Keep the Change is listening to economists speak and, reading out charts and shit and getting paid to do the presentations. And then leaving you with like, yep, cool, okay, done now. And everyone's like, oh, so good, blah, blah, blah. Economists came and spoke to us. They showed us all these charts and read us all this data. Yeah, also, how are the solutions? Oh, yeah. Or like, oh, right, times are tough. We got flick on the tally. Let's look at some sort of show about, what to be doing. Oh, cut out your Netflix, your subscriptions and stuff. This is like a nation that has had severe inflation, and no one was willing to talk about how to combat it by making more fucking money. And I don't know what that is. Yeah, like maybe we don't want that to be the solution, but unfortunately, inflation didn't care, the councils didn't care, the banks didn't care, insurance companies didn't care. They're like, these are going up, that's going up, that's going up. Like, oh, well, can we just have a quick chat about it? No. It's going up. Suck it up and carry on. And your only option was really to increase your income in order to combat it, or, tighten up on some of the expenses, live differently and things like that. And we've explored some of that stuff, but I just don't know why we don't normalize more the conversation about making more cash. And I do think part of the reasons is because there's not many people that can teach you how to do it, because people aren't out there doing that stuff. So economists aren't building businesses and entrepreneurs and thinking about this stuff. They're like, oh, I'm a data person to then provide you with summaries and charts and tell you about what's happening in the economy and what we expect and predictions that we get wrong. Now pay me my fee. Like, okay, great. Like, they've got some form of business, and I'm not ripping on all of them. We probably need to be learning. In a time when you need to build shit, we probably need to be learning from fucking engineers and entrepreneurs, not economists. They all start with E, but engineers and entrepreneurs build shit. So be careful, where you're getting your learning from. And even, shout out to the construction crews. Like, I was going past a site yesterday, it was 28 degrees in Auckland, and they're just in full high vis ripping into it in the hot sun. Wow, man, that is not what I could do. But, thank you to those people, because they're actually building shit for us, and they're building houses for people. Part of my job as an entrepreneur and a business owner and an educator is, okay, how can I teach everyday people some of these things that they could do in their life? So, my goals were, okay, how do I build a billion, fucking hell, maybe that is my goal. Shit, where did that come from? I'm looking around. $1 million of income was my target. How are we going to build $1 million worth of income? And I went on the path, like, let's figure it out. And today we're just going to be talking about $10,000. But for some of you, you're like, 10 grand, make an extra 10 grand in 2025. Are you sure? First, you've got to start with the belief that it's possible. If you don't believe it's possible, you're going to find all of the fucking articles and all of the people telling you that that can't be done, etc. And that ain't what you want your brain to be doing. You want your brain to be looking for solutions and looking for money. And I can't remember the saying, but I think I said this recently. I heard this in my life, and it was basically once you start to get some of the stuff working and you're making a bit more money and you've got different forms of income, you start to it starts coming so fast that you start to wonder, like, where has it been your whole life? And it's because you've got to change the game, and you've got to then start to look to add value and provide solutions and all the things we're about to talk about. Now, recently I did a breakdown on Instagram and YouTube on how to make 10 grand in 2025. And if you watch that, then I'm going to cover off some of the basics in there and probably tone down the swearing, although I've sworn about 86,000 times in this podcast already. And that's just in this episode. But I really wanted to break it down, and I know that not everybody watches YouTube and Instagram, so I really wanted to get this in the hands of people. So let's get into it. If we want to make $10,000, what I did was I started with a pad and pen over the Christmas break. I think it might have been Christmas Day I recorded it. I'm sick for it, I know. I apologise to my family for not spending time with you on Christmas Day doing the crack as I was recording this video on YouTube for people instead. But I love this shit, and I love helping people, and I was creative. I thought, let's do it. Anyway, pad and pen, I'm like, right, how can I teach people how to make an extra 10K in 2025? So if you want to pocket an extra, I would suggest that you go and watch the Instagram video or go and watch the YouTube clip, because I kind of cover some other things, and you might just pick up little tidbits and you go like, that's my thing. Like, that's what I can do. But we're going to break it down here and like give it some structure. So if you want to pocket an extra 10 grand this year, whether you need it to ease a bit of financial pressure or work towards a big goal, here's how you can make it happen, even in one of the toughest economies New Zealand has seen since the 90s. And it's hopefully getting better. But remember that it doesn't matter whether the economy's shit or good. You can still learn the skills of how to make this. And you might learn these skills now, and then you might end up making another 20 grand in 3 years' time. So bank it, bank the lessons and learn how to do this shit. So I continue to maintain that if we teach more people how to make a bit of extra cash, it will solve a lot of the individual problems people face. Because then we stop complaining as much, and we stop blaming, and we stop whinging. We're just like, shit, I need to go and do this. I'm not saying that it should be like that. I'm saying that at least you've got the skills to do it. If you're standing there and you're hungry and you go to the river and there are 10 people lined up with fishing rods fishing because they're hungry too and they're catching fish, and you're telling them, I don't know how to do this. This is so unfair. You don't understand. Why should it be like this? Why should I be hungry? They're going to be like, fuck up, we are fishing. So I'm trying to teach you how to fish here. So at least learn these skills so that you can reteach them, or you can take pieces of them, but they can better your life, and you can change the direction of your life once you learn how to do some of this stuff. Now, many people, they feel stuck financially, but don't realize that money is everywhere and that they can get their hands on it. You can get your hands on money, I promise you. It's not taboo. It's not a bad thing. It's just money. It's just a tool, and we can go and get some of it, and we haven't maybe learned how to do it. Just like people are like, maybe I need a fishing rod. Maybe I need a spear gun. Maybe I need to dive and go and get me some food. Whatever. People learn how to do it, and then they go and collect it. It's just a tool. It's all good. Don't worry about your negative emotions with it, or maybe past traumas and stuff. Like, we're all good. We're not exploring that at this stage. We're just being transactional, being like, I can get me some of that money. If other people can do it, why can't I? So let's step through it. Number one, I think for some people, they'll think, okay, 10 grand is a lot and it's unachievable. So I always think with a big goal, break it down. And when I was looking at my goal of $1 million worth of revenue for my business, I'm like, okay, reverse engineer, how would we do that? What are the services we're going to need in order to do that? And then how many of those? It made it feel easier than just going, okay, how the hell are we going to get $1 million worth of revenue? What do we actually have to do that? And then how many of those? So $10,000 can look and feel overwhelming for some. So start by making that number smaller, no matter what that goal is. Any $10,000 a year is about $833 a month, or $192 per week. When you see it this way, it's a bit easier for you to work out or figure out, like, yeah, okay, maybe I could do that. Number two, hours or skills. So this is key. To earn extra income, you'll need to either trade your hours, so that means working more, or leverage your skills, which is offering value. It's a big principle. More hours or more skills. You decide that. But realistically, $10,000 is a piece of piss if you're earning $30 per hour. So if we said, righto, that we earn $30 per hour and we divide 10,000 by 30, we've got to do 333 more hours. Now, if you divide that by 52, it is 6.4 hours. So you just need to work Saturdays for 6.5 hours and you're done. Easy. There's your 10 grand. But you're going to be like, I don't want to work every Saturday for 6.5 hours. Trust me, I tried that back in the day. Now I work Saturdays and Sundays sometimes, but I work on leveraging my skills and offering value on those days as well. So you start to explode in income when you do that. But anyway, that's as simple as it is. $30 per hour in a role like that, or if you can find one like that and just work every Saturday, you got another 10 grand. But of course, you're going to get taxed on that too. And yes, I have thought about taxes. We'll talk about that at the very end, but I just wanted to keep this simple. So there's your 10 grand. But why I show you that is because I want to highlight it for you that instantly you're going to be like, well, I don't want to work every Saturday and do that. And I get it, and fair enough. So if you want to accelerate your earnings and avoid all the extra hours or time away from family, friends, or fun, skills are the game changer. Remember, skills pay the bills. So that means you've got to think about what skills you have. So step 3, what can you offer? Think about the services you can provide. Start by brainstorming, what are you good at? What do people in your community need? What tools or assets do you already have? What problems can you solve for others? You know, people want to make it really hard, but just start by thinking, okay, you know, what problems can I solve for people and what services can I offer? Somebody asked me this week about making a planning type booklet or something. And if they're listening, again, this is no shade to you. I said this to you in the audio back. That's really hard and takes a lot of time. And you're also competing with Kiki K, The Warehouse Stationery, Kmart, all these other people that are like, hey, buy my planner. But you've got to design that as well. And it's really hard to, well, books, I think 99% of them don't sell past 1,000 copies. So how are you going to create a planner that's so good that over 1,000 people buy? If you take the sales price minus the cost that it took you to create that, what's the margin left? And is that a good use of your time? So I said to the person, what's the actual problem that you're solving by making the planner? Why not offer that as a service to people? And there's a big difference between going into a Facebook group and saying, would you buy this? Or buy it. And I fucking promise you, because I make offers every day. Yeah, well, maybe not every day, but just about. But every week. And there's a big difference between like, yeah, I'd do that. And, okay, yes, I'll put my card details in. I'll wire you money. I'll log into my internet banking. I'll get cash out of my wallet. There's a big difference between those two. So we get caught in a false sense of, yeah, I'd probably buy one of those and think that means like I've got a sale. It doesn't mean you've got a sale. It's people signaling that they think it's a good idea, but it's very different to them actually purchasing. Would you buy feijoas from the kid next door to you if you love feijoas out the front of their driveway? Yeah, we probably all would, right? But do we? No. Can't be bothered stopping. Don't have any coins on me. Oh, don't need them right now. Oh, Nancy dropped some off yesterday anyway. Two very, very different things. So you have to be careful what signals you take from the market. But anyway, I encourage this person to go back to, but like before, if you're trying to make money, like don't complicate it. Start by just servicing people and thinking about solving problems for people and what you already have and what you can offer. As soon as you've got to like make something and sell it, you're putting another barrier and you're delaying it. So I encourage people, to go into the garage, for instance. This is a way to think about this, and have a look at what assets you have in there. And that means water blaster, tools, lawnmower. Those are assets when you turn them into generating income. So that's what we talk about in accounting. An asset should help you generate income. They're a liability when they sit there and they need repairing and they're depreciating and you're not doing anything with them. That's more of a liability. So how can we turn the things that we already have, weed whackers, spade, chainsaw, have a look, see what you've got in there. Those are assets if you can turn them into generating income. Now, for some of you, you'll be like, well, I don't have the right tools. I don't have any of those assets. Well, look around the house for unused items that you do have that can't generate income and sell them. And then reinvest that cash into buying something that you can use to generate income. So you might take a whole heap of gear that you don't use, you might sell it, you might then go and buy a water blaster because you know that you can go and water blast people's mossy driveways or decks around the neighborhood. Okay? So we've got to look for ways that we can generate income. We actually have to spend some time thinking about this. And it might not just come, quickly. Not everybody's this intuitive. And if you've been trained and conditioned for fucking years and decades that the way to make income is to swap an hour of your time for money. Of course, it's going to be really hard to look around and be like, how else could I generate income that's not that way? Of course, we're going to lean towards hours. So I'm trying to show you here like some of the conditioning we have, but how we can break it down and start small. So step 4 is start small and scale up. Once you've identified your service, start offering it to friends, social media, neighbors, groups, local community groups, go door knocking, use social media to ask, does anyone know someone who needs help with and insert your service? Yep, you might have to knock on a door. Oh my God, that's so scary, Luke. Yes, it might feel daunting, but offering solutions to people's problems is what making dollars is all about. So don't stop at that. Don't stop at the scary moment. Roll on with it. It used to be normal. Like, how do the Mormons make sense of sending their, sending people to knock on doors for, I think it's a year or 2 fucking years. It's normalized. That's part of their mission. They have to go knock on the door and preach the word of Joseph, someone, I think, I can't recall. Apologies to any Mormons who may be listening. But you get it, right? Like, you've seen it. Like, they make sense of it. They're like, that's very normal. That's a part of what you do to be a Mormon. You go and knock on the door and you introduce yourself and you offer to teach them about this. Imagine how many rejections they get. You're knocking on the door being like, would you like help with your overgrown bush? I could trim that up real good. Okay? You want me to do that? Let me know when you want me to get started. It's not that hard. You're offering to help people. For fuck's sake. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing that you're knocking on the door to offer. What you're scared about is them saying no. What are they going to think about me? Doesn't matter. What are they going to think about you when you're broke and you don't have any money and you can't afford to do shit? And they're wondering like, why aren't they paying for their kids' treatment or sending their kids on the school camp or something? Like, they're thinking about you then too. So fuck them. Go knock on the door and offer to solve shit. What they'll really be thinking about, not so much about you, is like, why ain't I doing that? Why are they doing that and I'm not? What do they know that I don't? Why are they so hungry and I'm not? You think that they're thinking like, why they have to do that? What's wrong with them? Oh, don't they make enough? Oh, are they greedy? What do they think they are? They're not thinking like that. They're probably actually thinking, shit, okay, I'm insecure with what I'm doing over here. And I know I'm not doing enough deep down, so then I'm going to portray my negativity on you. Look at them out there offering to mow someone's lawns. Look at them in there, fucking broke, hating their life. Jesus. Okay, there's a bit of heat there. But don't get scared about this knocking on the door shit. You're going to have to break through the, putting yourself out there. It's the same thing for social media. Oh, I've never used my social media to post anything. Really? You've never used it for the thing it was invented to do? That's wild. What did you use it for? Just consuming heaps of people's content and looking at how amazing their life is and thinking, fuck, I would love mine to be like that. Okay. Is that a good idea? Well, I assume so. Everybody else does it. Jesus. So we've got to try and get ourselves into this tier where we stop worrying about this stuff and we're punching and we're trying to make our life better because our goals are meaningful enough to us where we go, you know what, like that is going to be the thing that encourages me to post on social media, to offer to mow the lawns, to chainsaw their tree, to pat the puss, whatever you're doing, whatever you're offering, to do some babysitting, etc. There's no judgment here. There's so many solutions you can provide for people. So I get it. It can feel daunting, but it does for everybody. And my business now does over $1 million in sales every year. And we have to make offers to solve problems. I got social content running. I got ads running for Keep the Change to introduce more people to Keep the Change as well, to get closer to my goal of helping 100,000 Kiwis. It's not even really about making money. It's about helping people. People mugging me off in there, You got to get over that shit. And none of you wake up thinking man, I feel sorry for Luke today, eh? He's probably busting his ass, putting out more offers, dealing with people mugging him off on social media, getting rejected in his accounting practice for offers. I got another proposal that's come back and they're like, nah, we don't want to go ahead with it. None of you think about me. None of you. I'm sure of it. If you do, that's really nice, but I doubt it. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to feel sorry for you. And just like you don't feel sorry for me, I just have to let that go and be like, okay, well, I still got to do it because I got big goals and I got shit that I want to do. So on we rumble. Get over it and get into it. And again, it doesn't matter what people think about you. You won't give a fuck what they think about you. When you're pulling in like another 10G, 20G, 30G, like your life's better, you're not worried about the rates bill going up, you're not in anxiety mode. When a bill comes, you're like, shit, we hadn't budgeted for that, but it's all good because we know how to make money now. You're going to be stoked. You're not going to give a fuck what the neighbor thought about you 2 years ago when you were knocking going, can we mow your lawns? Just like Mikey last week as we were talking about, do you think he really cares what people think about him? Like, oh, he was the guy that was like standing at open homes talking to everyone, handing out business cards. And like, now look at him. Yeah, but you got to start somewhere. You've got to do this shit. And you've got to, like Mikey always says, you got to practice not caring what people think. Okay, so there's 4 steps there. 1 was break it down. 2, hours or skills. 3, what can you offer? Also, just on hours and skills, I'm not against doing the hours either. And maybe like if you don't know what the skills are yet, that's fine. Do the hours first and stack up some cash to then buy the tools to turn into an asset. To turn into an asset to generate income. So what I mean by that is like, you might think, okay, I do need a weed whacker and I do need a lawnmower or whatever, just to use that example, but I don't have the cash to do that and I don't have anything to sell. Well, I do the hours, swap that for cash and then go and buy that stuff and then go and generate the income with the tools. So do the hours first, then swap to skills. Something to think about. So again, like I'm not, there's so many different pathways, but 1, break it down. 2, hours of skills. 3, what can you offer? And 4, start small, scale up. Now I want to give you an example that I often talk about, and because I just think it's one of the easiest. And also, I ran a poll on Instagram, and so many Keep the Change listeners were like, "This is it. This is the thing I don't want to do." So the easy example is cleaning. Cleaning is one of the most in-demand services, I believe, because people are just overdoing it. They can't be bothered, and we're chasing convenience. And I think this is because people are increasingly valuing convenience too. Because everything's teaching us that it's fast and you order it now and it just turns up and like why wait, and everything's at our fingertips, and all of a sudden these things like cleaning that used to be like half-day tasks and shit, we're like, fuck, I don't do that. I don't waste a day doing that. It's some old school shit, no way. So I think people are valuing convenience, and cleaning is a task that many people are happy to outsource or pay to have sorted for them, including the aging population, which isn't getting any younger, and they have all the wealth, may I remind you. They have a lot of the wealth. Statistically, they have a lot more than others. So they may swap it for convenience, and they know that money is less important for them because they have less years to live. So they're not as worried about letting it go. So they have the wealth and they can't do what they once could. May we remind you about the person doing the toenail clipping. Anyway, if we think at $500 per client, oh, who's spending $500 on cleaning, bro? What the fuck is this example? Shut up. Bloody hell. Your brain is so cooked. Think about it. House cleaning, water blasting, lawn care, you might package some shit up. But even if we do get 500, think about it. We just need 20 clients, okay? 20 clients, then there's maybe 20 Saturdays, not 52. Holy shit. That's an unlock. Hadn't thought about it like that. So don't stop at the like, that's not possible. And you actually don't even get to say that it's not possible, because you aren't out there making any offers or asking what help people would need around their house to then offer to do it for $500 to get the data to be like, shit, people do it. It's funny. Some of the loudest people about what's not possible haven't even fucking tried anything, and they tell you it's not doable. Well, newsflash for those people. I have a client who helps people clean their houses and do a number of things, barbecues, outdoor, pool, gardens, maintenance, etc. And they have heaps of clients who spend over $500. Pretty crazy, eh? Pretty crazy. Pretty glad that she didn't go like, nah, I'll never spend 500. No, that's just not possible. She's like, yeah, we could do that. And they've done it. And then guess what? Those people are like, oh, you could go and speak to this person. Oh, hey, why not go and speak to this person as well? I know these, go and talk to the neighbor. I'll do an intro for you. And then you find more of these $500 clients as well. So again, you've got to tidy your brain up. And then, some of you are going to be, okay, like cleaning's not your thing, but that's just an example to show you. What is it then? What is it for you? It could be like property maintenance rather than just cleaning. So it could be like gutters, gardening, fence work, hedge trimming, whatever. Like, what are you good at? What problems can you solve in your community? Babysitting or pet care, digital services, social media management, content creation, bit of recruitment, bit of advertising. It could be tutoring or coaching someone. Toenail clipping, as we said before. People are ready to pay for convenience and solutions. Your job is to offer what they need. Now, here's another hack. You know we love a little hack. Cut time sucks. So what I mean by this is if you think about the recent content we've been talking about swaps, so review your subscriptions, Netflix, Disney, etc., which hopefully you've already done, and cancel what you don't need or take a year off of that crap. Why not give yourself a year and be like, you know what, I don't need to do that shit for a year. Use that cash that you would have spent and use that time that you would spend on those apps to invest in assets that help you to earn more. So again, like cut out costs, put that money aside, and then use it to buy an asset that can generate income. And it might take you a year, it might take you 6 months, whatever, but do the hours as well. But figure out how you can solve problems, and skills pay the bills. And if you need assets, how you're going to pay for it. But just get your time back to start with, and you can put that time into generating income as well. So your next steps from here. Over the next week, identify one way you can start earning extra income. It could be as simple as offering to mow your neighbor's lawns or selling an old bike on TradeMe to then turn that into an asset to then start doing some water blasting. But remember, small steps add up to big results. You just have to get started and go on the journey. But at the top, I said it starts with belief. So you have to have the belief that it's possible. Number 2, identify stuff around your house you could sell to buy tools or equipment that will help you generate extra income. Number 3, identify where you're wasting time that you could swap to help you generate extra income. So we're looking for opportunities to start with. Then we're identifying, okay, how can I make it affordable to do that? As in, like, how can I afford the tools and the equipment that I might need? And then you're looking for the time that you're wasting, so you can then swap that time, because you're already like, I'm not fucking working extra. Well, you might have to, but also you're wasting a lot of time in your life too. We all do. It's just how we're conditioned, and these big marketing machines are sucking it from us. So why don't we swap some of that and get it back? And then we can put that time into generating the income. And you might not even need to do this shit forever. This is just learning the skills to do it. And then you can on-teach them, or you can lean on them when you need them. Number 4, stay consistent. And by the end of 2025, you could be $10,000 richer. I promise you that there is so much money out there that you just aren't asking for it or offering to add value or solve problems in order to get your hands on some of it. And I always apologize. I know that that's confronting and that hurts, because you're like, you can't just tell me that I'm not just asking for money or helpful, and therefore that's why I don't have more money. I didn't want to believe that either once. But as I learned more about solving people's problems, adding value, and serving people, man, it unlocks so much for me. I'm like, fuck, if only I just believed it a bit sooner. I wonder where I would be. But the sooner you get onto it and understand it, that it's about solving problems, adding value, and helping people, and that they decide what that's worth to them, and then you go and find people who value it even more, and then you can make even more, do the same things for people who value it even more and get paid even more. Your life is just unlocked. You're like, whoa, how did I not learn this shit? How was I not taught this shit? Now remember as well, you think that 10 grand, 100 grand is a lot of money because society conditions us like that. And we think, okay, well, you don't even have millions if you won the lotto and things like that. Just get this into your head. Kiwis have hundreds of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars sitting in bank accounts. Hundreds of billions. Do you know how much $1 billion is? Like, I still don't even really understand how big $1 billion is. We talk about it now like it's fork all, because it's so desensitized, because most of the money talk we hear is coming from a government level where they're balancing the budget of the entire country. And so then we're like, oh, $1 billion's not much. $1 billion's a lot of money. Anyway, Kiwis have got hundreds of billions of this shit sitting in banks, as a number on a screen. And guess what? A heap of them are itchy to spend that shit. So don't think that $10,000 or even 100 or even $1 million is impossible, because it is, and you just have to figure out how you can get your piece of it. Now, of course, I know that we didn't talk about taxes and we ignored it. I didn't want to put you to sleep, and I didn't want it to be that thing where it's like, oh, actually you need to make 15 grand because by the time you pay a third in tax, if you're going to do it all properly and whatnot, then you're going to have to pay tax on creating income, whatever it is. Even if it's hours, you're still going to have to pay tax on it. So maybe you've got to do more in order to have 10 grand clean. But we were talking about how to make an extra $10,000. I wasn't saying, that it's after tax, but of course, be mindful of tax, and please be mindful of your obligations and understand those things as well. Be bolder in 2025. Did you know this week is as of November 2024, just to ram this home, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand reported that total deposits at registered banks amounted to approximately $468.4 billion. But that's across like councils, government, all sorts. So households have over 250 billion of that. There's 250 billion of deposits. And we're not talking like investments, that are, in the stock market and stuff. We're talking in bank accounts. We're talking term deposits, savings accounts, transactions accounts. All that shit, like, eventually can be moved. And if you're making offers all the time, people will eventually, be keen to spend it if it's going to solve a problem for them, add value to them, or provide convenience, or for a number of other reasons. So don't think that you can't learn to make more money, and don't think that $10,000 is a lot, because you'll be blown away at just how possible it is. I hope that has got you thinking. I hope that you take action, and I hope that you learn some of these skills, because you can then pass them on, and you could have an entirely different life, an entirely different generation of wealth for the future generations that you're raising as well. Be bold, be bolder.